Wanted to make a little video about fear today. I know it's a topic that has been written about and talked about, and songs written about it, and whole books written about it. But something came to me the other day, excuse me, in the context of relationships and fear, and it was so interesting to see this play out in my own mind. I was hit with this fear of loss, fear of losing my partner, and whatever form that takes doesn't really matter. I mean, it could be the ultimate fear that they die, sorry, or it could be that they leave you or whatever. But the interesting thing that came to me wasn't so much about that coming up, but it was also realizing that there's something that can happen if you don't deal with the root of that fear, which I'll get to in a minute. We can actually subconsciously, subtly start creating distance. So what can happen is that I think because humans are so wired to avoid discomfort just naturally. I mean, it's evolutionarily wired in, I think, just to keep us alive. If we're hungry, we need to eat. If we're tired, we sleep. But we also want to avoid any kind of uncomfortable things. So whether it's anxiety in the body, whether it's, the racing thoughts and stressful ideas. So the danger of green lighting this fear of loss in a relationship and not dealing with it is that you can subtly start trying to avoid it. And the way that we can do that is we can begin to sabotage the very intimacy that we're afraid of losing. So we're afraid of losing that connective love, that closeness with our partner. But the weird thing is when that fear is so intense of losing them, then ironically we can actually start to distance ourselves from them. We can start to pull away. We can start to kind of close down and not share vulnerable things. And what can happen is you can start to really pull back inside, really withdraw. And then they feel that and they can withdraw. And you get this back and forth movement happening where suddenly you just don't know who they are anymore. You hear that all the time. Like, God, I don't know who my girlfriend, my wife is anymore. They say that about their partner. I'm like, I just don't feel like I know them anymore. But I think that started a long time before. And no, fear isn't always the root cause. There's many causes that can make that happen. But I think the fear one is one that's hidden a lot of times from us, and it's not in our conscious awareness. And so that's why I wanted to just shine a light on that and say, hey, be careful when that fear comes up. Don't just sweep it under the rug and find a distraction, but actually sit in it and sit with it. What I recommend trying is when you can, sit down and close your eyes, hopefully in a quiet place, and sink into that feeling. And your mind will try to probably label it. It'll tell you things about it, thoughts about it, and let those play out. Just let them go through. But then really just sink into those feelings, almost like you're lowering yourself down into a hot tub, and just sit in it and let it be there. Don't try to change it. Don't try to get rid of it. Just let it be. Breathe and let the feeling be there and see what happens. Usually what happens for me is that energy, that kind of like intense, uncomfortable feeling will kind of mutate and just flow through the body, and it'll naturally just kind of dissipate. And that's one thing you can do, just sort of change your relationship with that fear, and you actually meet it head on and you sit in it. You can do a deeper practice if you want, where you do that same thing, but then you ask a question to yourself. And you don't want the thoughts to answer this question. You want to just experience the answer. So you ask, who is it that's afraid of losing my partner? And just same thing, look inside and just see if you can find, and I know it seems silly, you have to set down your adult mind that's going to judge this. You have to act like a little kid who's never seen anything before. They've never seen like this insect that they're looking at, they're studying it. Like, what is this? That's the way you need to approach this, is who is this person? Who is this identity? Who is this whatever that is so afraid? And it's not to bypass the fear. It's the opposite. It's to just let the fear be there, go in, and see if you can find anything or anyone. And I won't tell you what you're going to find. I don't know. Your experience may be different. I suspect it won't be different than all the other people that have really sincerely done this. It's a beautiful discovery, and it's the opposite of avoidance. It's the opposite of spiritual bypassing. It's the opposite of soothing that with, drugs, alcohol, Netflix, socializing rather. It's just a direct experience of the emotion, and it's a deeper inquiry that lets you look and see where maybe the root of that is. So I hope that helps, and I'll be doing it myself because I'm sure my fear will come back, and I'll do my best to meet it exactly the way I just described.